Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are unpacking a truly cinematic story of grit, sacrifice, and just unparalleled ambition. We're going to dive into how a kid from a tiny Atlantic island transformed into a global icon through sheer relentless discipline. Whether you follow football religiously or you're just fascinated by the psychology of elite performance, trust me, the facts of this journey are absolutely staggering. Let's get right into it.
Born back on February 5, 1985 in Funchal on the Portuguese island of Madeira, Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro definitely did not grow up with luxury. He didn't have a private coach, fancy stadiums, or expensive boots. His beginnings were incredibly humble. His dad was a gardener and a kit man at a local club, and his mom worked crazy long hours as a cook just to keep the family afloat. Money was super tight. But even as a little kid, his friends and neighbors noticed something completely different about him. He absolutely hated losing. Football quickly became the absolute center of his world.
Section 1. The boy from Madeira and his humble beginnings.
His progression was incredibly fast. He started out at Andarina at age 8, right where his dad worked, and pretty soon moved up to Nacional, a major local club. But the real defining moment hit when he was just 12. Imagine being 12 years old and making the terrifying decision to leave your family, travel nearly 1,000 kilometers across the ocean, and move to Lisbon to join Sporting CP's academy. He was in a massive, unfamiliar city knowing basically no one.
And when he got to Lisbon, man, everything was different. The other young players actually ruthlessly mocked the way he spoke because of his strong Madeiranian accent. It was a super isolating obstacle that would have broken a lot of kids. But look at his response here. Instead of giving up or packing his bags, he just trained harder. He stayed out on the practice field long after the regular sessions ended, obsessively working on his speed, his shooting, and literally turning every single perceived weakness into an undeniable strength.
Now, what's really interesting about this next point is the number 15. At just 15 years old, a completely unexpected hurdle popped up. Doctors discovered he had a heart condition called tachycardia. This caused his heart to beat dangerously fast. If left untreated, this wouldn't just sideline him for a bit. It could have ended his professional football career before it even truly started. Scary stuff, right?
Fortunately, doctors performed a successful procedure to correct that rapid heartbeat. But the biggest takeaway you need to get from this is his reaction to it all. A lot of people would view a heart procedure as a giant red warning sign to slow down, maybe even the end of the dream. Not Ronaldo. For him, it was a new beginning. He recovered, was back to training within days, and his development accelerated so fast that Sporting's coaches promoted him through the youth levels faster than almost anyone else. By 16, he was already training with the senior team.
Moving on to Section 2. The Theater of Dreams and his arrival at Manchester United.
So picture this. It's August 2003, a friendly match between Sporting CP and Manchester United. Not even a cup final, just a friendly. But the 18-year-old Ronaldo played without an ounce of fear. He was just continually dribbling past experienced, world-class defenders with shocking speed and confidence. By the time that final whistle blew, the Manchester United players were so stunned, they reportedly cornered their manager, the legendary Sir Alex Ferguson, pleading, "We have to sign this kid." And you know what? Within days, Ferguson made it happen.
But simply arriving at Manchester United was just step one. The real challenge was living up to those monumental expectations. I mean, he was handed the iconic number 7 shirt, worn by absolute legends like George Best, Eric Cantona, and David Beckham. The pressure was crushing. At first, critics were really loud, claiming he was all tricks and no end product because he wasn't racking up the goals. So what was his answer? Pure work. He completely transformed his skinny teenage frame in the gym, building incredible strength. He stayed after training hour after hour, practicing free kicks and finishing. He used relentless discipline to completely silence the noise.
And all that discipline culminated in one staggering number, 42. By the 2007 to 2008 season, that skinny teenager had evolved into a complete athletic machine, scoring an unbelievable 42 goals across all competitions. He wasn't just playing anymore, he was utterly dominating the pitch.
Those 42 goals translated directly into massive team glory. He led Manchester United to the Premier League title and a super dramatic UEFA Champions League triumph against Chelsea. And yeah, even though he missed his own penalty in the shootout, United still lifted the trophy. Later that year, that spectacular season earned him his first Ballon d'Or, officially crowning him as the best football player on the planet. The boy from the streets of Madeira was finally at the absolute summit of world football.
Which brings us to Section 3, conquering Madrid and Europe.
In the summer of 2009, he made a move that absolutely shook the sporting world. Real Madrid signed him for a staggering world record fee of £80 million. At that time, it made him the most expensive footballer on the planet. Naturally, people started wondering, could any single player possibly justify that kind of massive price tag?
Well, he answered those doubts in the most emphatic way possible, with goals. Year after year, he just got faster, stronger, and more lethal. He fueled what is arguably one of the greatest rivalries in sports history with Lionel Messi, pushing both of them to extraordinary heights. Ultimately, Ronaldo set an astonishing record for Real Madrid that still stands today, scoring 450 goals in just 438 matches. He became the club's all-time leading scorer. Just think about that ratio for a second. It's wild.
His legacy in Madrid is practically unmatched. We're talking 2 La Liga titles, 2 Copa del Rey trophies, and 4 UEFA Champions League titles. Most impressively, between 2016 and 2018, he was the heartbeat of a Real Madrid side that won the Champions League 3 years in a row, something literally no club had done in the modern era. The secret? Former teammates always talk about his legendary work ethic. Always the first to arrive at training, always the last to leave. Even after scoring a hat-trick, the guy was obsessed with finding ways to improve.
But maybe his most emotional triumph didn't even come from a goal he scored himself. In the Euro 2016 final, playing for Portugal against France, he suffered a devastating knee injury early in the match after a really tough challenge. He was forced off the pitch in tears. But he flat out refused to disappear into the locker room. Instead, he stood on the sidelines, basically becoming a second coach. He passionately directed and encouraged his teammates until Eder scored the winning goal in extra time. He led his nation to its greatest football achievement ever, proving his impact goes way, way beyond just having the ball at his feet.
Section 4. New Challenges and Building a Global Legacy.
So moving to Juventus in Italy, a league famously known for its highly disciplined and incredibly strict defending, a lot of people thought age would finally catch up with him. Nope. Instead, he quickly adapted, helped Juventus win 2 Serie A titles, and scored over 100 goals for the club. Hitting that milestone makes him one of the very few players in the entire history of the sport to score a century of goals in 3 different major European leagues. The final chapters of his career have been just as dramatic. In 2021, he made this highly emotional, triumphant return to Manchester United, literally scoring twice in his second debut. But the club was struggling for consistency, which led to rising tensions, a controversial interview in late 2022, and eventually a mutual departure. But instead of just fading away, he shocked the world again in December 2022 by signing with Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia. This bold move immediately grabbed global attention, prompted other world-class players to follow suit, and significantly raised the international profile of the Saudi Pro League. And of course, he's still relentlessly breaking scoring records well into his late 30s.
Finally, Section 5. The Relentless Mindset and Refusing to Give Up.
When we look back at a career with more than 900 official goals and just countless trophies, it is so easy to only focus on the silverware. But Cristiano Ronaldo's journey proves one thing beyond debate. Natural talent might open a door for you. But whether it's on the uneven streets of Madeira or the absolute grandest stadiums in the world, what is it that truly keeps that door open? Is talent alone really enough, or does true greatness require an absolute obsession with improving every single day? I'll leave that for you to decide. Thanks so much for joining me on this Explain.